Most people nowadays do their most important work about 10 feet from where they sleep. I'm no exception. Just look. What I found is that most people don't think about the space that they're actually using there. Now, if you were to go into a store and there's personal items all over the counter mixed in with their papers, and it's a law office, would you expect that place to deliver quality work? And I found that no, you really don't. You'd be like, bro, what the heck? Organize your business. It's a place of business. But most people that work from home don't even think about reorganizing their room in order to make it like a business. If you look at a place that is not cleanly organized and has attention to detail in it, how can you expect work like that to come from that place? And this inspired me to change my environment in a way that I never had before. Now, I encourage all of you to come with me and clean your room, because to think about it, you're a slob. I'm sorry. Get your dusty ass room cleaned up. I'm not your mom, but it's time. A perfect example of why it actually matters what your environment is. And it comes from a great book that you should read by James Clear called Atomic Habits. Now, in this book, he goes over environment design, is what he calls it. And it's a simple story that I'm going to read to you today about Anne Thorndike. Anne Thorndike, a primary care physician at Massachusetts General Hospital in Boston, had a crazy idea. She believes she can improve the eating habits of thousands of hospital staff and visitors without changing their willpower or motivation in the slightest way. In fact, she didn't plan on talking to them at all. Thorndike and her colleagues designed a 6-month study to alter the choice architecture of the hospital cafeteria. They started by changing how drinks were arranged in the room. Originally, the refrigerators located next to the cash registers in the cafeteria were filled with only soda. The researchers added water as an option to each one. Additionally, they placed baskets of bottled water next to the food stations throughout the room. Soda was still in the primary refrigerators, but water was now available at all drink locations. Nobody had said a word to anyone eating there. Now, what this author goes over is that people often choose products and what they do not because of what they are or what the activity entails, but because of where they are. Now, he uses a great example here that I was going to just copy and paste, but I decided to give him credit. See, if I walk into the kitchen and see a plate of cookies on the counter, I'll pick up half a dozen and start eating, even if I hadn't been thinking about them beforehand and didn't necessarily feel hungry. Now, the plate of cookies is a good way to think about your room and everything in it. What I want you to do is really think about it. Now, I came up with an example that I really love, is that like how people, their habits are shaped by their environment. Like a guy that's always on meth, you're like, how can this guy make this decision? But you don't even think about your environment that you're in. He's like maybe on the same block as a meth dealer, and he just can't get away from his addiction. And then there's somebody that you're like, why are they so good at school, even though their whole entire room and house is a library? Or people don't go to the gym because it's too far away. All sorts of things. Your environment dictates what you do a lot more than you think it does. So I want you to think about this today as we go into your room. Okay, it's starting to rain. Gonna head in. It got a little wet out there. As far as I know, this is all right for how crap goes. Continuing on with... I'm going to scooch back. I feel like you guys are in my face. Sorry. But continuing on with clean your room. You see behind me, get rid of everything that's not completely necessary. Now, I went around, and one of the greatest things you could actually do is let go of some of the stuff you've been holding on to for years. Like, I'm not a psychiatrist, but I think, like, letting go in real life also lets you let go in your brain. Like, to be able to finally let go of grudges. Like, I found a piece of paper from fresh sophomore year. Yeah. But I found that and I threw it away, and with it went the like last extent of my latent revenge, that I finally was able to just let go of that grudge, and it just floated away with the piece of paper in my trash down there. Now, I also found like childhood trinkets and such, like nostalgia, like finding my Nintendo 3DS. Bro, nothing brings back nostalgia more than this. Here we go. We're gonna get some. God, it's probably dead as f***. But does it even make a noise anymore? It's better. Oh, it's turning on. Volume max. Bro, that goes insane. Anyway, this isn't what we're doing though. But bringing back a good old Nintendo 3DS, you know. Turn off. It only lost 1 bar of battery over like a year in a drawer. God, Nintendo used to be so much better. Anyway, but like finding things like that. But also I was able to get rid of a lot of things like that. Where it's just a childhood toy at the back of a drawer. And I was like, I don't need any of this stuff. Now my drawers are actually, I can put stuff in them that I need to get my work done or continue with my life. And I just found it, like, it was actually very, like, calming, you know? I mean, some people hate cleaning stuff, but I was like, oh yeah, getting rid of all this crap, finally. It was so awesome. I threw out, like, at least 3 trash bags and filled a bag in the attic and threw a bag out of the attic. There was stuff from the last time I cleaned my room when I was, like, 7. So sometimes you just gotta go and let go of things. And also, I don't know, it's like a little side piece. You can make some money off of it, like, well, there's a whole pile of books down there, but I moved it down there. But I'm gonna like sell them all. Like I don't need them anymore. They're like kids' books, but somebody might need them while they're still like relatively new. So you can do that with it too. But I thought about a quote from Wind, Sand, and Stars by Saint Anthony de Saint Anthony de Saint Exupéry. But what he said was, perfection is not when there is nothing left to add, but nothing left to take away. And I found that's kind of like that other quote, simplicity is beauty, but you gotta find it. Like when there's only the essentials, you realize what you really need. And that really hit me because in today's age, we really like to fill with noise, with things, and we don't realize the essentials in our life. And I think that simply cleaning your room is one of the few things you can actually do that will help you realize what's essential in your life. And it's also one of the few things you can control. Things you think you can't control, on the other hand, include bad habits. Now, there's like an infinite list here, but the basic formula is find your bad habit, realize what's causing it, and remove it from easy access. Now, like an example would be if you eat too many snacks, move them down to the pantry. Like simple things, your phone, if you always have it charging on your nightstand, move it downstairs so you're not looking at it when you wake up first thing. You're not going to bed with it and you can't get to sleep because you're just staring at your phone. Just move it downstairs. It's not going to kill you. I'm absolutely sure because I've had it down there for 10 years. 10 years, man. Actually, that's not even true. I haven't had a phone for 10 years. I've never had it in my room. Never killed me. You see this thing? I'm going to show you something. You're like, oh, I need a I can already hear you. I need it for my alarm clock. See this? See this thing? It's worked for years. I haven't changed the batteries in it. Years. Never off time unless I set it wrong. Get an alarm clock, man. Very simple. And it'll get you up because it's more annoying. And it doesn't have games on it. That might help too. But just go out there and start thinking of things that you need to get rid of. Like one of the worst male bad habits. I'm going to stare right at you, man. I don't know this from experience, which is actually surprising because sadly I fell prey to it, but not in this way. But you have to think about getting rid of the Kleenex and the old bottle of lotion because I know your hands ain't dry and you don't have a cold at all. Swear, you ain't blowing your nose. So get rid of those. Chuck them in the trash if you have to, or move them downstairs or back in the medical closet like you need to. Because getting rid of the triggers is half of getting rid of the bad habit in its first place. You can trigger good habits, like I have in this back corner. I have no idea if you can see it. I'll take like a side video of it, but there's this corner back here that I only read in that chair. And I will, if I sit down in that chair, I have to grab the book right next to the chair, and I will sit there and read. So you just have to set aside an area for a good habit, and then all you have to do to initiate that is just go in the corner. It's not like I have to go get a book, I have to go get a light, I have to motivate myself. You just go sit in the corner, and it'll start coming to you naturally. Literally just find a corner, put your books in it, and all you have to do is sit in that corner and make it enjoyable. Put your feet up on your bed, have a blanket with you, eat some snacks, and most importantly, I found is like put on some classical music. Even if you hate it, it will make it better. Because silence is worse, because people find it boring. And in an age where you can't be bored at all, it's 10 times worse. So go out there and do these things. Like start think for yourself critically right now. What habit do I have that I could possibly change my environment to? Think of any of those that I mentioned. You eat too many snacks, you have your phone in your room all the time, you don't read, you got the old Kleenex and the old bottle. That's a bad one in people's rooms. Or you just can't get to bed. So, or anything. Think of any problem, think of what actually sets it off, and go change it. That's what I want you to change when you clean your room. To end this video, I'd like you to know that your room is just a physical manifestation of your mind, but it can work the other way. By taking control of your environment, you can take control of your mind. And the reason why this is so powerful is because most of the time you had no control over what your environment was. The school system wasn't dictated by you, your childhood home wasn't dictated by you, even the roads you drive on were made 10, 20, 50, 100 years before you were born. So take control of what you can and clean your room. It's just another part of never settling for less than your best.